Hey friends, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy GM Prep. In this weekly show, I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday role-playing game. In this case, I am running a Midgard campaign set in the Dragon Empire using the Tales of the Valiant rules. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to all kinds of tips, tricks, tools, source books, scenarios, adventures, all kinds of awesome stuff that they get to help them run their RPGs. They also get access to our really awesome Lazy GM community over on Discord, and they help me put on shows like this. To the patrons of Sly Flourish, thank you so much for your outstanding support. So last week, I am going to a gaming convention next weekend, and I'm trying to reduce the number of vectors that I have for getting sick right before a gaming convention. So I ran last week's game online. I am running this week's game online. And so I was using Owlbear Rodeo and stuff like that. So I'll probably pull up Owlbear Rodeo at some point during the show. The characters in this one, let's see, let's jump over to Obsidian and let's go to our campaign here and take a look at our Dragon Empire campaign and go to our session notes. I am using Obsidian for my prep these days. If you want to learn more about using Obsidian for your game prep, you can find a link down in the show notes. So they started, let's see, I think it was the session before is where they went to the front door of the Pits of Unending Thirst. They went to the top of the Pit of Unending Thirst. They fought a Grey Thirster, which is sort of a zombie and sort of a mummy that sucks all the moisture out of you. And they got beat up quite bad. And they're like, well, we're going to rest again. So before they even made it into the dungeon, they went back for a long rest. And then they had an encounter on the way. And they had an encounter when they came back. I don't think they had an encounter when they came back. Then they got back to the pit. And they started actually crawling through the Pit of Unending Thirst. Let's pull up. Let's see if we can get Owlbear Rodeo up in the lower left. So I'm showing off my Owlbear Rodeo map. It took me a little bit because apparently somehow in dorking around with the new Owlbear Rodeo, I lost my version of the map that I had actually used in my game, but I've got it back up and running. So the characters came up to the top. This is a multi-level dungeon, as you can see from that little left side, which is really kind of neat. I like having multi-level dungeons with lots of connections, and those connections actually mattered pretty heavily when they were exploring it. So in the last game, they had made their way down that central pit. They opened up these crypts. They got attacked by some stuff. Then they made their way to the left. And we actually have a new on-call player who joined us last week, and he was getting attacked by zombies in this hallway over here. Hey, look, my big mouse cursor shows up if I wiggle it enough. So he showed up in that upper hallway and was getting attacked by zombies, and it was my friend Joe who got ganged up on. And in the middle of the battle, so he's getting beat up, and my other friend is like, man, why does Mike hate you? I thought he was your friend, and he brings right to your game, and then he beats the crap out of your character. And I'm like, I am just an antenna for storytelling. I am merely the conduit through which fantastic stories are told. I do not affect these. And like, shut up, you're killing him. So, and then I asked him, like, hey, how long did it take you to make your Tales of the Valley character? He said, 4 hours. I'm like, 4 hours? Something like that. It was like 3 or 4 hours. He was like, I was doing other stuff at the time, but it took me a long time to get in it. He's like, I still don't know if I got the skills right. I'm like, oh, that hurts. Like 4 hours to make it. That felt a little long, but I guess if if you had brand new to the system or anything like that, sitting there working with the online documents, it could take a while. So I was like, well, and then I said, the specter comes up and whispers in your ear, 4 hours, right? It was like, you're going to have to do another 4 hours when I'm done with you. So anyway, they did rescue our new hero. And then they were trying to figure out where to go. They went back into the other room, fought a gray ooze that was crawling out of these pits. And what they found out is that these little pits on the left here are sacrificial pits where victims were thrown down. And so many of them were that there was an oily sheen where their bodies had battered against the sides and created this oily slickness. And that manifested into gray oozes. So there was gray oozes all up and down these corridors, which I thought would get them to say, oh, we're not going down there. And they're like, wait, we could just firebolt them from up top. So they threw firebolts down this one, the lower right one there, this guy right here. and cleared out the pit. And then they tied a couple ropes. I said, how far is it? And they said, it's about 100 feet. So they tied a bunch of ropes together and they, hammered the pitons into the ground. And some of them have, a lot of the characters have spider climb. Like a lot of them have the ability. They all have, like 3 of the 6 have climb speeds. So they made and then one could turn into a giant bat. So you had 3 climb speeds and a giant bat, went down that corridor, which essentially skipped this whole level 2, and went right down to the final chamber. Now, I think that's cool, right? I at the time I was like, like I'm on my heels, right? I'm backed up on my heels because I was expecting that they were going to go to other places, but they didn't go to other places. They went right down to the main boss room. The only thing I thought was, well, they're going down there to save this goblin sage who's, what's her name? Sister Athelia. And Sister Athelia is a practical practitioner of a priest of Hune who is using she has one half of the puzzle box. She was connecting it with the other half of the puzzle box to, use it to open gates and stuff. And she was coming down here to get the other half, but then she got attacked by manes, the nasty demon things. And I think it was like cultists of the Sanguine Path in proximity of the fiendish nature of the tomb and of the puzzle box manifested into manes. These manes are like the lowest tier of devils. And so she's getting attacked by those guys. The characters are like, we're going to simultaneously go dork with these sarcophagi and save her. And I'm like, oh, that's going to start something. So the sarcophagi start opening up and skeletons start coming out. At the same time, a mummy comes out holding the other half of the puzzle cube. And the mains are attacking the other characters. So now they're down there in the pit, and they've got a battle on 3 fronts. And that's where we're starting the session today, which is really fascinating. I think it's going to be really fun. And my plan, I'm going to talk on my show later today. First of all, what I can do is I can throw some tokens down here. We're going to switch over to my A5E tokens here, and you can search for main. Was it a main? I thought they were called mains. Well, let's see. We will hop over. I'm going to remember to I'll switch over to the prep. And we're going to look at the Monster Vault. Oh, that's Monster Vault 2. That's the wrong Monster Vault. We're going to talk about that later. And we're going to go down to Devils and Lemurs. They were not mains, they were lemurs. Look at that juicy fella. And it's the idea that down here in the pits, the cultists of the Sanguine Path, this blood cultists, are already doing like fiendish stuff. And when they died, they became lemurs. Very different art for this lemur, but we'll use it. I think it's okay. I kind of like the other one better, but I'll live with it. So we have a bunch of these guys. And I think I said 5. Whoops, I got too many. So we got 5 of these guys over here. And then I've got a mummy. Ooh, I like that. That mummy token is great. So we have a mummy over here. And I think we have skeletons. Yeah. We have skeletons that are coming out of the sarcophagi. Right? The sarcophagi are kind of blowing up and skeletons are coming out. I can always add more skeletons if I want to. And then I have the characters are going to be around here. We have 6 characters today. So that should be plenty. In fact, I'm going to throw more skeletons at them, right? Because it would make sense that there's more skeletons. 4, we'll do 4. I think 6 is probably too many. Our lazy benchmark today, they are 3rd level. So 6 times 3 is 18. 18 divided by 4 is about 4. So I can throw 4 CRs at them. But the mummy, I think, is like a CR3. Let's take a look at the mummy. The mummy is a CR3, vulnerable to fire, 80 hit points. It does a dreadful glare. Glares at one creature can see. The target must succeed in DC 13 wisdom save or be frightened. Target fails by 5 or more is also paralyzed. Ooh. 2 rotting fists. The rotting fists do 14 damage each. Whew. That's a lot of damage for third level characters, I think. They're going to get hit hard. So that could be scary. Now, maybe they can, they won't get hit on every attack. But boy, that's 28 damage at CR3. Remember I talked about like CR 1s and 2s and 3s are a little hard. I may reduce this a little bit. What I might do is that they hit one, they attack a second time if they miss the first time. But if they hit the first time, then they don't make a second attack. It's like a cheaty way to keep the threat of the monster up, so it's very likely to do 14 damage. It's almost like they have advantage on an attack, but it's a little scarier, and you're essentially saying like it doesn't make a second attack if it hits with the first. It's a way to reduce the overall damage. For this one, I don't think it's that bad. 80 hit points is a lot, but when it has fire vulnerability, that actually reduces it quite a bit. So I think that'll be. I'm talking on my show later about where we fudge, and that's an area where I would probably fudge. And I'm fudging the monster. I'm fudging the monster because I'm just afraid it's going to knock people out too much. And I can always change my mind, right? I can always say, no, it does make 2 attacks, right? Or it does hit a second time. But I think like the players are going to be dropping like flies if this thing starts hitting them, on top of the fact that they're fighting 9 other dudes. So great big fight. Anyway, so they're down there, and one of the fun bits here, and we should actually, let's see, so we'll switch back over to Obsidian, and we will go to our notes, and we're going to create a new set of notes for today, create a new note from template, and we're going to use our Dragon Empire template, and I think we've got all 6 of our characters today, and we will say the Battle of the Puzzle Box. So that's our strong start. Very, very easy strong start. In fact, the strong start's probably going to take an hour and a half. So half the game will be this battle, but that's okay. So Battle for the Puzzle Box is one of our scenes. Then combining the puzzle box. I have an idea for this. And my idea is that when you combine the puzzle box isn't really a box, it's a rod. And it's 2 segments of a rod. And when you connect them together, you've created a rod of the Pact Keeper, which I think is I'm going to drop into the player's guide real quick. Let's see. This is my player's guide, right? The player's guide has magic items in it, I'm pretty sure. And let's see. Magic items. And let's look for rod. There is no rod of the Pact Keeper. That's crazy. The rod of the Pact Keeper is like a staple. And it's not in Tales of the Valiant. Crazy. So we could just custom make an item. And the item could be, that's bizarre, that there is no, TOV Warlocks don't get a Rod of the Pact Keeper. I'm kind of surprised. I think it's a default item. I think it's a standard, I think it's in the SRD. There's no reason they couldn't have had it. So I think that so we will just make it like a cylinder, right? It's like this weird cylinder thing. And it's got this like flowing, maybe it's got like barbed chains that kind of form around it, so it hurts. And then the attunement is it binds to you and it kind of like pierces into your skin. I think that'd be kind of cool. Maybe it requires like a blood sacrifice. You permanently lose a hit point while attuned to this thing. Probably not a lot of hit points. You don't want to take a lot of hit points, but 1 hit point's not bad. And as your blood flows into this thing, AE right out of Hellraiser. And while you are attuned to it, it gives you a +1 on spell attacks, and it gives you your DC increase. It gives you +1 to your DCs for spells. We could make it like a Rod of the Pact Keeper, where you can replenish 1 spell slot as a short rest. That I don't think it makes it more powerful than not a Moonstone. That other item that restores a spell slot up to 3. I guess you don't want it to go all the way up, right? That maybe there's a limit. But I mean, how bad would it be? I guess like it would be really powerful because you have 2 9th level spells. But if you have to use a short rest to recover it, I think that's okay. I think that works. The idea of like, I don't know, does that item work? That it lets you restore a spell slot as one of your spell slots as a short rest. Yeah, I think that's fine, right? I think that works. And even though it'll scale all the way up, so it essentially gives you like whatever your best spell is, you get to restore that best spell once. But it's a powerful item. It's almost an artifact level item. So the puzzle box and it has a name, it's like the puzzle box of Mott, I think was what we were calling this thing. The puzzle box of Cattell. So we have a magic item, the puzzle box of Cattell, +1 to, and I think it can scale up. So like when they hit tier 2, when they commit certain things, it will increase. It'll go to +2, +3, but it'll eat more hit points at that level as well. +1 to spell attacks and DCs. Restore 1 spell slot as a short rest. And it can summon Mott. It can summon Cattell. Great cost. Cattell being a chain devil. And I get to control Cattell. They don't gain it as an NPC that you don't get to do the Chain Devil stuff. I get to do the Chain Devil stuff. Now there was a name for these guys. I think there was a secret that we had. The High Potentate of Dragon Slayers. That was a great secret that we're gonna put in here. These 3 secrets are definitely secrets that we're gonna want now. We're gonna move those over. Well, we might move others over as well. So the thing is, like, they could be in a world of hurt here, but I think if a character can like bring them together, then Cattell will be happy. Cattell is a chain devil of the demon lord Mott, and they hate the dragons as much as our characters do. So the idea is like they will bind themselves to a devil that can help them fight the Dragon Empire. Could be a pretty cool shtick. So I think we're going to go with that. So we got our, strong start is there. And the character, Tolstoy, can hear the calling. Let's see. We're doing a little characters thing. So Amavin is our rogue who knows the sly nature of the unseen. The unseen is, I think I already did this secret, but I think it's handy, which is one of not Perez. Let's see, the three Morza. Parsis. Denzia. So I want to put in a secret here. I need a new villain. I've got an idea for a villain, which is going to be a noble who stole Cal's vineyard. And we're going to want to make, in fact, why don't we do this right now? Let's get the Sly Flourish random generator. Fames. Worm Ear. Fames Worm Watcher. Has a connection to Fame's Worm Watcher, who is and let's see if we go to our Dragon Empire notes. I think I have the ranks, right? I think I have a ranks thing. So this would be a Tamarli. Is it a Tamarli? I think that Fames is an Ermanli, a governor. And it's a governor who took it over. So notable NPC is Fames Worm Watcher, Ermanli governor of, and I think it's going to be of the... It's not of Adisha. Adisha doesn't really care about fancy wines, but I think that Ibelin the Illustrious does. Ibelin is all about vanity and stuff like that. I don't know how to spell vineyard. I'm terrible. I think I had it right? Oh, vineyard. Yay, I can spell. So Fame's Worm Watcher, we're going to throw that on our NPC list so that I have a new villain that we're introducing. And so Gaudenzia knows... And I think Fame's Worm Watcher has a toady named who? Tyke. Tyke would be one. Bira's what? Rat Watcher? No. Silverbound. And Bira's Silverbound is what? Probably a Dragonborn. And the rank would be probably a noble. A Tamarli of Ibelin. So now we've got like 2 ranks of NPCs that are connected to 2 of the characters. We were talking about this the last game, which is why I think it's time to define them. And what we're defining is like 2 villains, kind of lower ranking villains that are directly related to the characters. And Biriz for taking her farm, her vineyard. Excellent. All right. So I got some little secrets there that are character background focused secrets that aren't really related directly to what's going on in the game today, but they could remember this, and now we can put 2 new targets out there for the characters to go after. So Amavin knows the sly nature of Parsis the Unseen. Gaudenzia has a connection to the Fame's Worm Watcher and his toady, Bira's Silverbound, who are ranking members of Ibelin. Mateo is the mechanist. Recognizes the puzzle box as a multi-purpose artifact. Able to activate red portals and bind creatures from the other side. That's useful. Rowan is our dwarven blacksmith fellow. So I was reading about this the other, knows about the great expense of the Northern Wars with the 7 cities. So in the north, let's drop over to our Midgard map. So here's our Dragon Empire. And the characters are here in Kukatarma. Their home base is right at this peninsula area to the north, which is where the 440 fingers are. And the 3, this is zooming in, this is a pain in the ass. It's super, super sensitive. And if I touch my mouse the wrong way, it hoses things up. So Mazar, Batek, and Gizmiri are the 3 regions that they are dealing with. And I think, let's see, so let's look at the Morza. So Adisha is of the Gizmiri, of the desert out there. So that makes sense. Parsis is the ruler of Batek. And I think Ashadar is in Batek. Oh, so maybe it's, yeah, so the money train that they've been doing is actually not for Ibelin. And Ibelin is the ruler of Mazar. So this could be interesting going with all this. I had a reason for looking all this up, and now I can't remember. Oh, the War of the Seven Cities. So a secret is that Ibelin is heavily engaged in the current holding of, and it's 2 locations, of Kiprion, which is an island of Minotaurs. And there's another location here. And Rumelia, taken from the 7 cities, and knows about the great expense of the wars with the 7 cities, is a secret. So that kind of matters. So the interesting thing is the money train that they're setting up is with Parsis. So Parsis is the Morza establishing the illicit artifact train to Nuria Natal. That opens up a lot of stuff. And Parsis is the most tricky of the Morza. I think there could be a lot of fun. They might even ally with Parsis for all I know. So those are secrets for that really don't affect things immediately. But I mean, they're helping me out because they're helping me fill in character secrets that the characters might learn. So now we need others. Okay, let's get back to where we actually are, which is in this big pit. So I think we have the secret that the puzzle box of Catel can open a red portal to the ruins of, and we can go back to our map here. I was trying to think where it would help them to have a red portal. So Kukatarma is here, and it could be Nerderin, which is right near where they are. Then they just have like a mountain pass journey. I didn't want it to be like too close to where they are. The other one could be Sayaz, but Sayaz, maybe it opens to both. The ruins of Nerderin or Sayaz. So now we need a couple secrets about Nerderin and Sayaz. So we'll go back to our Midgard World book here, and we're going to do a search for Nerderin. That didn't work. Ruins of Nerderin, a Nurian human city that resisted the arrival of the dragons in the first rush of the Maraudi expansion. Charred stones and a few pillars are all that remain. We will just grab that. I don't know who the Nurians are. Nurian dwarves. A fragile piece between the... Nurians are Nuria Natal. Okay. So, and yeah, human... So Nurians are Nuria Natal. They were pretty far away when they got beat up. But that could be valuable. And then the other one was Sayaz. A great experiment by kobold alchemist named McTree the Mad went horribly wrong in Sayaz, releasing vampiric mists and flesh-rotting vapors that turned the town from a thriving metropolis into a tomb almost overnight. Scattered bands of gnolls use its empty buildings, but the Dragon or Monley consider it a place best left fallow. That's cool. We'll grab that too. So maybe it opens up to 2 different places. They now have portals that can kind of open them up to 2 different spots. I think that's pretty good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2 more secrets would help us here. I think we probably need something. So the other location was let's see, I probably got to go back a couple places here. Was it a ziggurat of Thoth Hermes? I think let's see, I wrote in my locations. Yes, it was the ziggurat of Thoth Hermes. Okay, so let's do a secret about Thoth Hermes so that we can learn about that. Here we go. There's a secret about Thoth Hermes. That's probably pretty good. I think we got plenty of secrets now. I don't think I need to worry about too much. Fantastic locations. We have the Pit of Unending Thirst, and we have the ziggurat of Thoth Hermes. Do we want another? We probably want a location along the way. Something that once they're done with this, once they're making their way to the ziggurat of Thoth Hermes, we'd like another one. So we're going to pull up, again, we'll go to our random tables here. And we will build a monument of power. We'll make it Midgard. We can actually do Southlands, so we'll do Southlands. Cyclopean Holy Cenotaph of Screams. Creatures of disadvantage. Oh, this one didn't add. I like that, though. Cenotaphs are fun, but of whom? We can actually, let's see. I have a faction list, and I need some dice. Oh, you know what? Look at this. We'll use my slyflourish.com dice. slyflourish.com/dice. This is a free dice roller that I made in JavaScript. So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to do a D7. 7, so it is a faction. And we roll a D4, which is 1, the Blood Mages. So we could have Blood Mages at the Cenotaph. It's a Blood Mage corrupted, but I'd also like to say it's of something else. And I think we're going to pick the Southlands, and that is a D20. So I'll roll a 20. I got a 6. And that is of Bastet. So a Cenotaph of Bastet that has been corrupted by the Sanguine Path. Cyclopean Holy Cenotaph of Bastet that screams corrupted by, what if it's cats, mewling cats? That would be pretty awesome. Corrupted by the Sanguine Path that screams. That's cool. And then who's wandering about? I think I had a wandering table in one of my previous session notes. So these were creatures that were running around this tomb, but I want ones that are wandering around the overall place. They've been in this place for a long time. We could have, I kind of like the Selket Sting battling the Sanguine Path. So we haven't really introduced Selket Sting yet. So I think we're going to have Selket's Sting be at this location when they wander by. So that'll be a location on the way to the Ziggurat of Thoth Hermes. I don't think I need to figure out the Ziggurat too much in this session because they still have a lot between sessions. I could do a little bit of work there. So this is the Ziggurat of Thoth Hermes. Well, that didn't work. And what kind of creatures? So the Red Door of Hewn is down below. I'm probably going to change this up a little bit. Oh, so they go up the staircase all the way to the top and then make their way back down again. And what kind of... So there would be like guardian armors. If we think about what kind of encounters we could put there, we could do a quick list. Let's go back to our notes here. And we'll say encounters at the Ziggurat. This is going to totally hose up my ability to make this one page of notes. So let's see. Animated armors would be one. Guardian skeletons would be another. Thoth Hermes is the god of knowledge and learning, the wise, creator of language. We could have lost explorers, learned specters. That's a good one. Let's see. Any other kind of encounters we need? You don't need to have a huge random encounter table, frankly, but 6 wouldn't be bad. I don't want to just fill it up with undead again. We could drop from Monster Vault 2 for fun. I was just looking at the Monster Vault 2 preview, and we could use as a beast that's wandering through. Look at that guy. What is that? That thing's nasty. Fen Lurcher. Mage Knight is a CR5. That's kind of cool. The Mud Skipper. I thought we'd use a mud, except I think this is like, giant. We'll just go with giant centipedes. Let's just do giant centipedes. Everyone loves giant centipedes. Animated armors, guardian skeletons, lost explorers, learned specters, centipedes. We could have like living spells. Do you remember like the living spells that I think, were they in Eberron? I think we had living spells in Eberron, but we could have like, animated scrolls that cast spells. Animated spell scrolls could be fun. I think that sounds like a good time. Treasure. I think we're going to put more treasure in here beyond just the puzzle box. So we will go to our random thing here, and we're going to pick a 1 to 4 treasure and go bang. And of health that sounds really lame. Dust of dryness makes sense. I think we'll have some dust of dryness. So we'll grab this stuff. Everyone loves potions of greater healing. So I'll have a couple of those. And are we ready for a javelin of lightning? That sounds like a lot. +1 frozen abyssal rapier. That sounds kind of cool. Somebody will like that. Our rogue will love that. So what does it do? What's a good cold-based spell? Let's go back to, so it's called Abyssal Rapier that lets its wielder cast Ray of Frost. Let's go back to our player's guide here. Spell lists. Ray of Frost is a cantrip, ranged spell attack. I think the ranged spell attack will be +5, right? +5 would be the assumption that they would basically be a tier 1 character, right? +5 would be like, the assumption would be, we could let them do it at +6, just so it's a little bit meatier and it'll last a little bit longer. Yeah, we could have it that like you wield the rapier and it does the Ray of Frost using the same attack of the rapier. That's pretty good. What's this thing called? It's got to have a name. We need a cool name. And then we're probably done. Ice Spike. Icicle? How about just Icicle? Yeah. Called Icicle. And requires attunement, of course. Lets its attuned wielder cast Ray of Frost. It's not bad. Is Frostbite better than Icicle? It's pretty good. Frostbite's pretty good. Cool. Frostbite's pretty good. Thank you, BK Thompson, for Frostbite. Is Frostbite also a cantrip? I don't think so. So that's cool. I think we're good there. All right, so we got plenty of treasure. So I got my encounters. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to put this in a big, long list so that it doesn't, when it prints, look at that. That way it'll be one line. And that way I can save some space when I print all this out. So what else do I need? I feel pretty good. How do I feel? All right, well, I'll tell you. Here's your trick, right? We got tricks of the day. One of the tricks of the day is to stop when you feel like you've got what you need and to ask yourself, do I feel good about this next session? Do I feel like I've got as much as you typically do? We all have doubts. We all have the lizard brain telling us, oh my God, we have to be creative in front of our friends and they're all going to laugh at you, right? They're all saying what Carrie White's mother said to her. They're all going to laugh at you. And hopefully they're laughing with you. Sometimes they laugh at you, but sometimes you laugh at yourself and it's great. So do I feel like I have enough material to run this next session? I certainly have a good, solid, strong start. I think the game can kind of wander from there. I've got a good encounter wandering around the city. I've got plenty of secrets for them to discover. I'm actually cheating on secrets because I also tie secrets to the characters. So now I have 6 extra secrets. So I got plenty of lore to throw their way. Do I have plenty of decisions? Are there plenty of decisions for them to make? I think so. And the real path of the game is they combine the puzzle box, probably go back to the Hewn Enclave for a rest, then travel to the Ziggurat of Thoth Hermes, travel and crawl the Ziggurat of Thoth Hermes. And that's pretty much the next couple of sessions, right? So I don't need big piles of scenes. I kind of know where things are headed after that. So I feel pretty good about it. I think I've got everything I need. I'm going to print this. Even though I'm running an online game, it's still nice to print. Well, export now. Let's see if it should fit nicely on a sheet. It does. Look at that. I could even boost it a bit, but I don't think I will. It's fine. Oh, we'll boost it a tad so it's a little bit easier to read. Well, export to PDF. One nice thing about the downscale percentage is you can kind of get everything to fit on a page depending on how big the text is. Ooh, look at that. I got it exactly on a page. So I'm going to print. And I'm going to print just page 1. It overlapped just a touch. And that gives me plenty for my game. So I think we're all set. Friends, I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me today while we prepared for my Dragon Empire game. If you enjoyed this show and you want to see more like this, please consider subscribing to the Sly Flourish newsletter. Subscribers get a free adventure generator PDF and a miniature version of 5e to run with your friends. And you get a weekly RPG-related article sent to your inbox every week that includes links to all of the other stuff I do. It's fantastic. I work hard on the newsletter. I hope you'll enjoy the newsletter. And it's totally free to sign up. You can also subscribe to my Patreon and get access to all kinds of tips, tricks, and tools, adventure scenarios, and other things. Join our awesome Discord community and help me put on shows like this directly, help support me directly. And you can pick up any of my books, including Lazy DM's Companion, Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, The Workbook, Forge of Foes, City of Arches, and more on the Sly Flourish bookstore. Thank you so much. Have a great day and get out there and play an RPG.